don't wear sandals or flip-flops if you're going to be going into the forest. It's just a recipe for stubbing your toe or hurting yourself. Make sure to wear good shoes, either hiking boots or trail runners or something like that. So I am wearing a long sleeve shirt, long sleeve pants, and then these right here are these are called gaiters. And so you could put them over your boots to make sure that ticks and other stuff doesn't like get inside your boots. If you don't want to bring gaiters, one of the other options you can do is you could tuck your pant legs into your socks, and so that'll prevent the ticks from just going right down or right up your pant leg.
Got my pants tucked into my socks, which is what everyone should do. Helps with bugs and thorns and stuff.
When you're going out into the field, another thing that's important is have sun protection. So you could bring sunblock, you could bring a hat.
You will very rarely find me outside doing insect surveys without my hat on, because sun protection is super important.
And make sure you stay hydrated. So I bring a water bottle into the field to make sure that yeah, they don't become dehydrated or get heat stroke or anything like that.
Tonight I'm wearing tall boots, which are important if you're walking through mud or water, and also protect against ticks and poison ivy. I'm also wearing long pants to protect against ticks and poison ivy and bug bites. I'm wearing a mosquito jacket, which is very important if you go out at night because there tend to be a lot of bugs. I'm wearing a t-shirt underneath because it's very hot today, but I would say that a long sleeve shirt is probably advisable, also for mosquito reasons and tick reasons if you're wading in grasses that are higher than your waist. And I'm wearing a headlamp, which is really important for collecting at night, so that you can more easily identify what you're looking for.
These are linen pants, which are nice for hot weather. They're very breezy, not so good at thorns. You know, make a decision, make an educated decision about your field site.
My good field pants are in the wash, so I'm wearing a pair of sweatpants. Unfortunately, you can see this was not a great choice because I'm covered in burrs.
Yeah, so if you have a lot of pockets, you can carry a lot of things like forceps or containers or those glassine envelopes.
When I'm in the field, I really love wearing my overalls because it has lots of pockets for things like collection vials and Sharpies and pens and forceps, and lots of snack room as well.
I have a little pocket lens, so this is a magnifying glass. Actually, you have something similar in your kits. So you can just take a look at characters while you're in the field.
I also have my hat for sun protection and for ticks that fall out of the trees, that sort of thing. And you gotta keep your hair up so that you don't get ticks as well. Yeah, I had a coworker who would wear her hair down in the field and then just get covered in ticks, so she stopped doing that.
I have a hat on. Oh yeah, this reminds me of what a monarch looks like in case I forget.
So I'm covered head to toe in basically a full body mesh suit. I've got boots on the bottom, keep bees from stinging my feet, wearing gloves. And basically this whole thing is to protect me from getting stung while I work with bees. So right here I have just a small colony. Bee suit's probably unnecessary and overkill for working with these guys, but you know, it lets me do fun stuff like, you know, touch them.
So I think for anything that has this kind of these bright colors, especially if it's a hymenopteron, so if it's like bright orange, if it's bright yellow, I would be very careful when you're collecting it, just on the off chance that it could sting you. If you know you're allergic to bees, please do not attempt to catch any.
If you don't know you're allergic to bees, try to find out.
One of the things you have to be careful of when you're going out collecting is the different toxic plants that you might encounter. So in the East Coast, one of the plants you have to look out for is poison ivy. And so this right here is poison ivy. You can kind of see this oily sheen on it. They often come in leaves of 3, so 1, 2, 3. And if you look at the leaves, they're not always symmetrical. So you have this one that's kind of got these lobes and sinuses on the right side. And they don't always look oily, so this is also poison ivy right here, but it doesn't actually look that
It looks
oily.
really innocent.
So just keep an eye out for these kind of plants when you're looking.
And if you've never touched poison ivy before, hey, possibly you're not allergic. Also, very possible you will swell up like a balloon and we won't be able to recognize you. It's happened before. Technu is a useful way of fighting against poison ivy if you fall in a patch of it.
Why are we worried about ticks?
Why are we worried about ticks? Well, ticks cause Lyme disease, which is this terrible illness that kind of ruins your life in a way. When you get back to the car or wherever you are, when you're done with your field research, I would recommend just, stand up, right, and just sweep off sort of all your clothes. Take off your jacket if you're wearing one. Try to really brush yourself off of any insects. And then when you get home, you take off all your clothes, you put them in the laundry, and you go take a shower. And that's the best way to prevent against ticks and any other sort of bad blood-sucking insect. If you get bitten by a tick, that doesn't mean you have Lyme disease. Ticks have to be attached to you for over 24 hours to even have a chance to transfer the disease, and not all of them carry it anyway. So if you do find a tick on you, you want to get it off as soon as possible using a pair of tweezers to gently pull it free from your skin. There's tons of videos on YouTube telling you how to do this, so definitely look one up before you just panic and start, picking at yourself. And then keep an eye on that spot and look out for a rash. It looks like a bullseye, a sort of circle around where the bite was. If you have darker skin, it can be difficult to see, so you want to be extra sort of aware. And if you do see that rash, that's when you go to a doctor as soon as possible, because they'll have medications that can help you sort of fix things before they get too bad. You want to do your best to always stay on the trail or make sure that the trail is in sight. The moment you get sort of wandering around in the woods without a trail, that's not a great scene. So stay on the trail and do your best to carry a map, or at least try to have maybe one downloaded to your phone in case you lose service. You can still sort of pull it up and use it. GPS often works even if you don't have an internet connection, and there's a few apps out there that you can get with maps that'll work even without internet. But in general, you want to make sure that you always know where you are, especially if you're in a really wild area. If you're in the middle of the city, it's a slightly different situation, but it's still always good to know where you are. You definitely want to tell someone where you're going and when you'll be back. Just in case, you trip and break an ankle or something happens, we want you to be able to get help. Even better, take a friend, or a couple friends. Who doesn't like running around outside catching bugs, right? So having somebody with you could be really nice, especially if you're going out at night, which we don't necessarily recommend, but if you are, I definitely wouldn't recommend traveling alone. The other thing is, making sure you have water with you, maybe a snack in case you get lost somewhere and it takes longer than you think it will to get back. A little bit of a first aid kit, and be wary of trespassing. Usually there will be signs up saying don't go past here, private property, do not enter, and you really want to respect that, because there's nothing, it can look a little suspicious. You have a big net wandering onto somebody's yard, they don't know what you're doing, so we want to make sure you guys are safe. If anything should happen, if you fall, if you get bit, if you don't know what to do, be sure to reach out to someone you know nearby, or you can also always call one of us or your entomology TF if it's not us, right, and ask for advice. We just really want to make sure that you're safe and that you have people that you can talk to, so never be afraid to reach out with any sort of issue, and we can point you in the right direction.